If you want to be a woman who is valued and well respected at work, then try being yourself. There is nothing more liberating in life than being the authentic person that you are. Hi, I am Rama-Tulai, and today we're exploring being yourself, which is the second of my 3 secrets to becoming that woman who is valued and well respected at work. First, we will look at the importance of being yourself. Second, how does being yourself manifest in the way that you relate to yourself and in the way that you relate to people around you, in this case, your work colleagues. And third, how or ways that we can cultivate the strength of being yourself so that it becomes second nature. If this is something you might be interested in exploring with us, then keep watching. Everything changes once you start showing up as your true and authentic self at work. You start gaining trust and being relied upon by people around you. You start inspiring others, especially those that you lead if you're a manager or a leader, those that you're responsible for, because you're leading now by example. The third one may come across as a negative one at first, but that's okay because it's for the right reasons. It's because you're being yourself. You start losing friends. Because being yourself sometimes may make you come across as someone who's, especially if you're a woman, someone who's bossy, they call it, someone who's assertive, someone who's loud, if you like. But that's okay. And the good thing about it is that the sensible ones amongst the friends you'll be losing will come back because they know that you were just being yourself. You're just being your authentic self. Now, how does being yourself manifest in the way that you relate to yourself as a person? First, you know yourself. I've covered knowing yourself in my previous video because it's the first of the 3 secrets that I talk about as far as becoming that woman who's well respected and valued at work is concerned. It can be accessed by clicking on videos in the activities section of my profile here on LinkedIn. Being yourself allows you to know yourself. And when I say knowing yourself, I mean knowing who you are and not what you are. I have emphasized the difference between the two in my in this previous video that I just mentioned. So please try and watch it to get more insight on how to know yourself or around everything around knowing yourself. The second way being yourself manifests in the way that you relate to yourself is that now you stay in the present. Staying in the present for me is in 2 ways: the past and the future. Staying in the present means that you have forgiven yourself for your past mistakes. Whatever that has happened in the past that was a mistake or a negative thing doesn't define who you are today as a person. And you must recognize that. Others may not forgive you, but what's important is that you forgive yourself, because that's the only way you can now focus on yourself and how or who you become in the future. So forgiving yourself. The second part of being in the present for me is not focusing too much into the future, not being anxious. What hasn't happened yet shouldn't define who you are in the present. So being in the present is the only way you can focus on yourself and how you want to improve yourself so that you become a different person or a better person in the future. The third way that being yourself manifests in the way that you relate to yourself as a person is that you've embraced your unique self. Embracing your unique self involves not comparing yourself with others, because we are all unique in our own different ways. Every single one of us is different from the other person. There is no one like you in this whole universe. Your unique self includes your strengths. What are the things that make you different, that make you a different person in a positive way? And that is what you should be focusing on. Capitalize on those strengths and find ways that you can use those strengths to improve you as a person. Focusing on and embracing your uniqueness also includes embracing your flaws, your weaknesses, because they also define who you are as a person. What's important, however, is your mindset around those weaknesses. You must first embrace them. You must first accept them. Because that is the only way you become vulnerable. And that vulnerability is what makes you a trusted person or a relied upon person amongst your colleagues. So first embrace those weaknesses, be vulnerable, and then find ways of managing those flaws. Now, how does being yourself manifest in the way that you relate to people around you? First, you start setting boundaries. Now, mind you, this is where you will make most of your enemies. Because setting boundaries makes you come across as someone who is bossy, assertive, especially if you're a woman. And this will not sit well with some people in the first instance. But then, like I just said, some people will come back because they will understand the reason behind it. So setting boundaries include things like saying no when you need to and not having to explain or to give lengthy explanations as to why you're saying no to certain requests. The second is you as someone who has principles. There are things that are unacceptable to you, and everyone around you understands and abides by those principles. And of course, you are also someone who respects other people's boundaries. The second way that being yourself manifests in the way that you relate to people around you is that you start caring less about people's opinions about you. Because let's face it, that's none of your business. What others think about you should not be your problem. Because already now you know yourself, you know what your values are, you know who you are as a person. Once you start exploring those opinions of others and comparing those opinions with who you are as a person, once you see a mismatch, then you take it with a pinch of salt, because those opinions do not define who you are as a person. It means that you're not spending a considerable amount of time thinking about what other people are talking or are thinking about you. That time you were spending in the past on those, you will now spend on how to improve yourself as a person. Now the energy is redirected, if you like. The third way, being yourself manifests in the way that you relate to others, is that you start speaking up when your values are being compromised or are being attacked, if you like. For instance, if your value is justice, then you will not sit quiet when you see injustice right in front of you. Be it you're being taken advantage of, or an other person is being taken advantage of, especially if this other person is someone that you feel is vulnerable and may need your support. Of course, you will do it in a nice way. Of course, you do it in a polite way, in a respectful way. But what you will not do is sit back in silence when injustice is happening right in front of your eyes. So now, how do we cultivate being yourself as a strength so that it becomes second nature? 2 ways. The first is you must start becoming comfortable or being comfortable with having yourself as company, sitting around yourself, sitting with yourself. Some of us are just too scared of being alone. But the thing that you may not know about being alone is that this is the only time you can reflect on yourself. And that reflection improves you as a person. This reflection allows you to think about your actions, your emotions, and what triggers those emotions. Once you start reflecting on a daily basis, being yourself allows you to reflect on your actions, to reflect on your decisions. And that reflection allows you now to know the amount of work that you need to do in terms of how you now start responding and not reacting to things that you would have reacted to if you hadn't given yourself the time to reflect. This reflection allows you to become more confident as a person, more self-assured as a person. The second way that you can cultivate being yourself so that it becomes second nature is listening to yourself. This is needed at times, at time of decision making. This is needed at time of being challenged with a problem that you need to solve. I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to others. You shouldn't have others come forth with their suggestions for solutions and others. But you must first listen to yourself as far as the decision that you're about to make is concerned. And you cannot listen to yourself without giving yourself the ability to be alone sometimes. So the two are linked. And now, to conclude, we have talked about the importance of being yourself. We have talked about how does being yourself manifest in the way that you relate to yourself and in the way that you relate to people around you. And we've talked about ways that you can cultivate being yourself so that it becomes second nature. So my challenge to you now is, next time you feel undervalued or disrespected at work, check yourself as far as these 3 things we've just discussed are concerned. You will surely get your answer. I'll also want to know from you, what are the other ways? Are there any other ways that you feel that you can apply or you can adapt to become that person who is well respected and valued at work as a woman? I am waiting to hear from you. In the meantime, thank you for watching.